you create more than one drop menu, you'll want to create these from the very beginning as if we are just going to have all of these buttons in the same place. So we have all of our buttons and text set up here. And if I select the text for menu 1, it's text button 1. If I select the text for menu 1A, it's text button 1A. And in the same way, if I select the buttons that are behind that, we have menu underscore button 1, menu underscore button 1A. And even more so, I've gone in and if I right click and look at the actions for text button here, it's actually controlling the button right beneath that, which is the button 1B. Now, just to show you exactly what we have set up, I'm going to create one last button here, and I'll select menu 2B. I'm going to hold down my Option key, Alt on PC. I'm going to click and drag this down. Let go of the mouse and let go of the keyboard. And if I select the button, this is menu button 2B copy. I'll change the name to C. And I'll change the text name also to C. Now, just because we've changed the instance name does not mean we've actually changed the text. So let's double click on the text and we'll make this menu 2C. So visibly, it is now menu 2C. So our button, text, and everything is set up. And we'll right click and we'll go down to our actions and make sure it is controlling the button, menu button 2C, and the same for the mouse over. Okay. So if we test our movie, Command Return, Control Enter on PC, all of our buttons seem to be working exactly the way they should be. All right, let's close this out. And now what we're going to do is create several labels. Get rid of this one little keyframe here. And now we're going to add some labels. So we'll do Command L, Control L on PC. And this is going to be contract. Now you can call this home or you can call it anything you like, but I'm just kind of keeping this very simple. We're going to do contract. And instead of expand, we're going to be doing menu 1 and menu 2. All right. And next I'll move my playhead forward just a little bit here. And we'll add another label, Command L, and this will be menu 1. And further, and we'll do another label, and this will be menu 2. Now, on the label menu 2, I'm going to click and drag and select all 3 of the sub buttons for menu 2. I want to go to my properties. Instead of this being always on, I want to set this to on. Okay. Now, because I have the auto keyframe mode turned on, if I move my playhead to the other frames for the contract as well as menu, you do not see menu 2. You only see it in the menu 2 label. At the same token, I'm going to move my playhead now to menu 1, and I'll click and drag to select the sub menu buttons for menu 1. And I'll also set this to on. So now, for contract, we only have the top 3 buttons. For menu 1, we should have just menu 1. And for menu 2, what we should have is just menu 2, but we look like we have menu 2 and menu 1. So what we'll need to do is we're going to have to turn off the sub buttons for menu 1 under the label of menu 2. So since these are still selected right now, I can simply go over. Instead of having it set to on, I'll set it to off. So now what we should have, menu 1, menu 2, and contract. Now the last thing we're going to do is we are going to add our contract button or our close button. So while we're in menu 1, I'm going to select our rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and drag a large rectangle that covers the area of menu 1 as well as menu 2. Now, I'm not worried that it's covering up only part of the menu, then some of the menus coming forward, because we're going to rearrange this in a moment. But right now, what we need to do is, 1, we're going to change the property name, and we'll simply call this close_btn. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to arrange this, go to our Elements menu, and we'll move this all the way to the bottom. And the next thing we'll do is we'll set this to on instead of it being always on. Now I'll move my playhead to the contracted state, so we should not see the button here. Go into menu 1, we see the button, and menu 2, we see the button. Now, the next thing we're going to do is control when these menus actually show up. So we'll select the text for menu 1, right-click, and we'll open up our actions. And what we want to have happen is when we move our mouse over this text, we want this to go to the label menu 1. So we're under our mouse over tab, going to hit return, and I'll simply click stop at. And we're going to type a quote and unquote, and we'll make this menu 1. And we'll go ahead and close this out. And we'll select the text for menu 2. And then we'll open the actions here. We'll make sure we're using our mouse over tab. And we want this to stop at menu 2. So now if we test our movie, Command return, we still have one little problem. Everything's still automatically playing, but our jumps are happening the way they should. So we'll close this out, and we'll click once on our stage and turn off autoplay, and we're going to add a few more commands. If we roll over the text for menu 1, it goes to the label menu 1, and for menu 2, it goes to menu 2. The last thing we're going to do, as far as our button text, is we're going to right-click here and change our text for the mouse over here. We'll add a stop at, and this, we'll do 2 quotes, and quote unquote, and have this go to contract. We'll close this out. And last but not least, to close our button, we're going to move our playhead just to menu 1. So we can see our close button. Select the close button, right-click, and open the actions for close. And we'll add a mouse over, and we're going to add a stop at, and we'll have this go to contract. So now if we test our movie, Command return, it's Control Enter on PC. Our menu works there. And last but not least, we'll select our close button and we'll turn off the visibility. So let's test our movie once more. So we now have 2 drop menus, and we've created all of those on one timeline, and you'll never have any issues of both the menus showing up at the same time because they're turned on at different moments in the timeline.